The World Cup is in full swing, and there is still a lot of news, a lot of gossip, a lot of rumors, a lot of events going on in the transfer market already. And we're not even into July yet, still a day away from July. And yet so much has happened with regards to the transfer market. Chelsea, PSG, Liverpool, Real Madrid, all very hectic in regards to their transfer business. So much going on, especially with the Premier League and with all the top clubs, even with Newcastle and Sunderland involved. There's a lot of going on already in the transfer market. The journalists are working non-stop. There is news coming in and out as the World Cup goes on. Players are being signed, medicals are being conducted. In the middle of those World Cup campaigns in the USA, so much is happening and there is so little time to keep track of all this. Canada triumphed South Africa to go through to the round of 16 in the World Cup last night. And now 3 more matches are lined up for tonight, including the Netherlands-Morocco match, the Brazil-Japan game. And when you come to Chelsea, there is especially a lot going on because there had been so much happening in the past 48 hours or so. Chelsea approached Sunderland for Granit Xhaka. Xabi Alonso desperately wanted to get him back, involve him in his plans again. He's one of his key players, and Xhaka wanted to return to London at any condition that Chelsea would offer to him, as is being reported in the media right now. Then Chelsea sent in an offer of about £8 million, which is seen as disrespectful for both the player and the club by Sunderland. It's completely fair as well. Chelsea think it is absolutely fair. Xhaka is now 33. He's still the captain of the club at Sunderland. He's still their key player. It's a whole lot mess going on that side. Then Pep Chavarria, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, is being approached for the left back position. He's being pursued by Chelsea. He's at Raya right now, and he's still being pursued by Chelsea as a replacement for Marco Correa. He's 28 years old, which is unlike to what Chelsea's strategy has been in recent times, in recent years under Blue Co. Malo Gusto has said yes to Manchester City, but now finally, when the whole conclusion of the Enzo Maresca to Manchester City saga comes in, Manchester City finally confirmed that Enzo Maresca has been signed by them for the head coach position to replace Pep Guardiola. He had been at Manchester City as an assistant coach to Pep Guardiola years ago. He had done well back then. He has done well since then. He's done well with Leicester. He's won 2 trophies with Chelsea. But as soon as Man City today announced the signing of Enzo Maresca for their head coach position, Chelsea released a statement of their own, which was a bombshell statement, it feels like right now. Because yes, we've all been critical of Chelsea, the management, and the way the club handled Enzo Maresca. We all reacted as if the club was at complete fault for Enzo Maresca's sacking, as people were talking in those days, which was not a sacking. Actually, it was Enzo Maresca who resigned at his own will from the head coach position at Chelsea. And then Chelsea's season went downhill. Maresca was replaced by Liam Senior, then Xabi Alonso came in, and now things finally are starting to look good for Chelsea right now. And Maresca, again, is a very positive development for Manchester City. He has all the potential to take City forward, back into the top spot again. Xabi Alonso would be competing for the top spot alongside Mikel Arteta and Roberto Di Zerbi at Spurs and Andoni Iraola at Liverpool. So it's going to be a really interesting and must-watch Premier League season to watch. But with all that has gone down with Maresca and Chelsea, it feels like Chelsea's management and ownership weren't completely at fault for the departure of Enzo Maresca and for the season going downhill. Now it is really crucial to keep in mind what the Chelsea statement of Enzo Maresca has been, and I'm going to read it right now. Chelsea's club statement says, Chelsea FC appreciates that 2025-26 season was a hugely disappointing one for the club and its supporters. A major contributing factor was the disruption caused as a result of changes that the club was forced to make to the head coach position over the Christmas period. Due to recent developments, we considered that it is important to explain to our supporters what happened and why our former head coach left the club on 1st of January 2026. Now it is wonderful that the club is taking accountability, they're taking responsibility, and they're acknowledging that the season went downhill, and a major reason for that was the change of the head coach position, Maresca leaving, and now they're going to explain why all that happened. But it is good that this is finally being acknowledged by the club and the fans are not being left to the dark, because for a period of time, especially in the early months of the year, it did feel like we were. In autumn last year, the club was informed by a former head coach that there might be an opportunity for him to succeed Pep Guardiola at the end of the season. It became clear to us that it was his strong desire to succeed Guardiola and that he was fully committed to pursuing the opportunity, despite the fact that he was under a long-term contract, which he had no right to terminate. And again, this just proves that the rumors that had been there since last year, that Man City had scouted Enzo Maresca for their head coach position after Pep Guardiola's departure. That was a concrete possibility, and Enzo Maresca had been focusing on that. And obviously now it is implied anyone can make it out from here that Enzo Maresca didn't have full focus on Chelsea's season and was being lured away by the possibility of succeeding Pep Guardiola, which again, as the club statement says, he had a strong desire of. And again, as the closing line of this paragraph says, Maresca was aware of his long-term contract at Chelsea, and obviously he was under no right to terminate it. And again, reading this statement, it feels like Maresca did disrespect his contract, which is a huge disappointing thing for all the fans, all the supporters, and everyone who has criticized the club's moves in the past, including me. I take full responsibility. I acknowledge that I did so in the past, and it is hugely disappointing to me as well, because you did respect Maresca as a professional, you did respect Maresca as a coach and what he had done for Chelsea, and especially that Chelsea was going through a pretty prosperous period at that time, even though there were a few letdowns in a few games, especially the Man United game, but there were a few huge victories as well, the Liverpool game, the Barcelona game. It was an absolutely fine period at Chelsea, and there were still positive signs that we could finish in the top three for the season. But that didn't happen, and we instead finished outside European qualification positions. In December 2025, our head coach unexpectedly and abruptly resigned from his position. Obviously, we felt let down as we believed that his head and heart were focused on another club and another opportunity, despite having just arrived at Chelsea the year before. And again, it is obvious that anyone would be disappointed if that is to be the case, if your head coach is setting his sights on another position when he has only been at the club for a year or so and he's just signed a long-term contract. He has the tools to make a legacy at this club. But again, I still question a lot of it, because it's not like Maresca was at complete fault for the way things were at Chelsea back then. Chelsea had not had a strong transfer window. The results were not there from the players that we had signed, and it didn't feel like we had signed any world beaters. It didn't feel like we were still a world-class team. There were a lot of injuries, and it felt like Maresca was responsible for carrying the team through some of the more positive results that we had as a team. It wouldn't be shocking to me that Maresca saw an opportunity at Man City, who were in a much better position, who have been in a much better position than Chelsea for the past decade, and he saw an opportunity to win there, to be successful there, and to succeed his former boss there. Obviously, Maresca has that connection with Guardiola and Manchester City. He has already been there. He has that connection. He has that attachment, obviously. And it must not have helped that his relationship with Chelsea fans, his treatment by Chelsea fans, his treatment by critics at Chelsea, and the way some of the results were turning out at Chelsea, that wasn't the most positive of signs. That it wouldn't surprise me if Maresca felt a little detached from the club. It wouldn't surprise me if Maresca felt a little disrespected maybe by the club and the fans, because he had to face a lot of flack in his first season as well. In early 2025 as well, he had to face a lot, and then in late last year, he had to face a lot of criticism. A lot of it was unfair, and so you have to wonder how much of that went into play for Maresca to come to this position, to come to this stage that he just resigned from his position out of nowhere. Did he see that Man City position, that Man City opportunity to be so fruitful and to be so rewarding that he had to quit his Chelsea position right at that juncture and not wait it out until the end of the season, or maybe get to a cordial agreement with the club and perhaps go in a different direction? Now, we have seen in the media what has been reported. Chelsea will receive a £17 million compensation from Man City, in addition to the compensation, which is still undisclosed, from Enzo Maresca as well, due to his untimely termination of his contract. And as the statement goes on to further state, no club wants to change its head coach midway through a season. However, in light of his decision not to continue fulfilling his responsibilities through to the end of the season, the club was left with no choice but to protect our players, our supporters, and badge and accept his resignation. That just says it all. The club was in a position to not disrespect the players, the fans, and that was the best decision for the parties at the time. In the circumstances and given the mutual respect between clubs, a confidential settlement has been reached with Manchester City, which includes the payment of compensation. A confidential settlement has also been reached for the former head coach, under which he will pay compensation. Now, what is important to keep in mind here, the closing paragraph of this Chelsea statement, which is still a really positive thing for Chelsea fans, for supporters, and which does portray the Chelsea ownership and management in a really positive light, and is perhaps a sign of the better times to come at Chelsea. Looking forward to the next season in Xabi Alonso, we have a manager who has an exceptional football mind and is a professional of the highest integrity. He has all the attributes to deliver the success the club supporters deserve and expect. Again, that says it all about the statement. That says it all about the club's intentions and the club's point of view, the club's perspective with regards to next season. They have full belief and faith in Xabi Alonso, and as has been reported in the media, Alonso will receive more authority than any of the previous managers did. Maybe that was the reason that the previous managers didn't feel in command, didn't feel like they had to be at Chelsea for a longer period of time. Maybe that was the reason that the previous managers wanted to quit the position at Chelsea for such a long time. Maybe that had a role to play in it. But then now Xabi Alonso, who is, as the statement says, has an exceptional football mind, and now he has all that control that he has. He's still pushing for better players like he is with Granit Xhaka. I'm sure he will bring success to the club. Another important thing with regards to this whole fiasco is Maresca's own words, that statement Maresca has published in this whole scenario. At the end of December 2025, I made the difficult decision to leave Chelsea. The decision was only mine. My resignation from Chelsea opened a path for me to join Manchester City, which is a club I knew very well. He did. I am ecstatic that I have now joined Manchester City. I recognize that my departure from Chelsea in the middle of the season caused disruption for the club, and I apologize for that. It was neither my intention nor my wish. I was treated well by everyone at Chelsea, and together we achieved great success and memories that I will always treasure. I am grateful to the club, the owners, and the fans for giving me the opportunity. And again, that says it all. Maresca himself acknowledges that he resigned from the Chelsea position, that he wanted the Man City position, and he left the season midway, which caused disruption, which caused the season to go downhill, which he has apologized for. And well, it's a situation where nobody can help anyone. This was a situation that Chelsea found themselves in. It's not like they were completely faultless at. It's not like Maresca was in complete fault at for this, but it's not like he was not at fault either. So this is just the state of the things as they were, and we can only hope that the club goes on to do well under Xabi Alonso next season, which I'm pretty sure that we will. Maresca, can he do well at Man City? That still remains to be seen. Will he succeed in bringing Malo Gusto to the club? How will the Premier League react to Xabi Alonso's appointment at Chelsea? How are things going to change in the whole scheme of things? How's the Premier League going to change? It's a lot to be seen, and it's a really interesting Premier League season cooking up for us, which I'm really, really excited for. I think this is going to be an all-time Premier League season. But that is it for the video. The World Cup is going on. Maybe Cape Verde might go on to beat Argentina, as the Guardian witch doctor has said. We never know what's going to happen at the World Cup right now. There have been a lot of surprises. Anyways, that was it for the video. This is our signing off again. Subscribe to the channel again, and subscribe to my newsletter if you want to read articles on sports, pop culture, entertainment, movies, technology, anti-AI stances, or whatever you're interested in. The link is in the description below. I'll see you guys really soon. This is our signing off again.